Chef Steve is now going to make pork sausage.
Italian sausage.
Italian pork sausage.
So the meat has already
There's Linda in the background.
Hi.
The meat has already been cut off the bone. It's pure pork shoulder. About 11 pounds of meat here. So I'm going to run it through the coarse grind once, and then I'll be ready to add my seasoning and mix it by hand. That's all, folks. But you know what, making fresh sausages is nice. I don't have to spend the next day or the rest of the day smoking it for 6 hours. I'm going to mix the 10-11 pounds of sausage meat with the spices while adding a few cups of cold water. I'm going to mix.
And what spices did you use?
Well, since it's Italian sausage, I've got some garlic, I've got some right amount of salt, black pepper, a little bit of sugar, some anise seed, and quite a bit of crushed, actually about 1.5 ounces of fennel seed. So
I really smell.
and also a little red pepper and a little crushed pepper too, since it's Italian. So what I'm doing is mixing it here with a cup. I'm going to probably add 2 more cups of water to this batch before I get done mixing it. I've got to mix it real well to make it flow. You can't stuff it if it's just ground like this. You can't run it through a stuffer. You got to get the viscosity of the meat. Besides, it adds, as Padma would say, bulk and juiciness. I'm using about 6 ounces of salt by weight for 25 pounds of meat. Rather than just seasoned ground pork, you've got to add enough salt and mix it so that you wind up having a conversion in the meat. And I think the term sausage makers use is you go through a process called extracting the myosin from the meat. Myosin, that's like when you chew some gum. After you chew it a while, it gets kind of hard and gummy, as opposed to when it's fresh, at least when you first started chewing. Well, that's the stage I'm getting with this mixture here. Once you mix the salt and mix it, you have to get the stuffing process reasonably quickly. I'd say within 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes, because when this stuff is mixed, the sausage will start setting up, firming up, just like cement would. Whoa. It's thickened up. Even after the water, see, it's like chewed gum. Whatever. So anyway, see, that is sausage. Now that's going in the stuffer container. This is what they call a 12-pound crank stuffer. I'm trying to stuff it all in here and leave no air pockets. I think that'll do.
Oh, you're going to do it again later?
Yeah, don't waste your film right now with this.
All right, what are you doing now?
I'm putting the casings on the stuffer tube.
This looks rather phallic.
It's exceptionally so. And,
this is like an extra long prophylactic there.
It's quite enjoyable, in fact.
These are sausage casings from what animal?
Same one the meat's from.
So pork sausage casings.
Okay, I'm going to tie the end off of this thing with a figure-8 knot right here. Poke a hole in with a sharp bamboo skewer through the end, 1 or 2 of them, and I'll do that periodically where I see air holes, but that's going to let the air escape. There's still air in the tube. There's a abysmal system before I got this wonderful stuffer. I use an attachment on a KitchenAid. I used to grind my meat, which you can do easily, not too much of it, on a KitchenAid. But when it came to stuffing, their stuffing attachment, well, forget it. You almost needed two people.
There it is.
And
wow. So you just make it endless lengths?
I will with this. When I do kielbasa, I make a couple of feet and then I tie it off and make a loop and resume. Here I'm going to stuff because I'm going to make links. And we'll get, after I get a bunch of this stuff, we'll be able to see how we go about making the links. So I'm going to make a good number of feet of this, and I'll just keep a coil going. But anyway, here's your Italian sausage.
So it's just pressing down on the meat and shooting it out, the spout.
But you can see why it's important to have the texture of the viscosity of the sausage meat. Okay, what I'm going to do is stop here, and I'm going to tie off this amount of sausage, and I'm going to add the rest of my meat, but I will poke an air hole, get my scissors, cut this about here, tie another figure in knot to seal it off. Make them about like this. I just want to be a little bit careful. If you grab it and pinch lightly and just squeeze and do about where you want the next one's going to be a gauge, you'll shrink up a little bit. You just hold on either side of that, give it a couple of twists, and you got a link. Now we can just move on down the board. Do the same thing here, carefully so I don't rupture the cases. So I didn't want to stuff them too tight. That's another thing. If you stuff them too tight, you tend to rupture. But I'll be careful with that. I'll just get it and give it a couple of twists there. Go on.
Wow.
Let's see, where the heck am I? I'm trying to make a nice little for myself, and I'm screwed up here. Let me see.
Batch number 2 is on.
Good.
It goes in the bun. There they are, the little sausages.